have them soon instead of in a while, but sure. But they just people randomly throw out a while, and it happens at work all the time. It makes me laugh when people just randomly throw a while in. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's time to start the show in a while.
No, a while, not in a while. It's just like,
that's
can you get it in a
There's
get
no
in a
preposition.
while?
It's
Okay.
just.
All right,
Whatever.
everyone, welcome to A While. Everyone
fit there.
Racers. A While podcast designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture for a while. Whatever kind of LeChamp or track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. We even think you Drifto Hella Flush guys all right, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of low buck racing, and if you can handle it, Chrissy will give you just the tip. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
You're
and
always
we are
so late to this
everyone
party.
Sorry, I'm lowering the music and
Doing
everything.
stuff. Sorry, Mental. Go ahead.
Okay, we're still Everyone Racers. Going to open with an apology. We've missed you guys the last 2 episodes. We'll talk about that. But thank you for coming back and listening to another delayed but versed episode of our podcast a while.
Versed.
Welcome to episode 35.
Judgmental, that was the correct.
The correct incorrect usage.
So,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
exactly. Well done. Well done.
Or poorly done, rather.
Poorly done. So
Exactly.
starting out with our lead-in of what you're working on. So as we mentioned, it's been a couple of weeks. So I was on my way to meet my cadets for a 15-mile hike over the weekend. And on my way there, the Porsche got a flat tire. And in the nature of that flat tire, it completely delaminated from the rim, which made all of the tires suspect. So I had to get new tires for the Tank Cat. What was upsetting about that is they could not get them in time for me to do the SCCA track night that I was going to do in May. So I've had but 2 things. One is Carlos with Discount Tire locally. That dude is just awesome. Hooked me up, walked Vicky all the way through it because I had to go to school the next day. So I took the VFR, and today we had a monsoon on my way to work, and I am quite impressed with my Continental DS7s. I think they are in the wet. They are phenomenal because that car used to hydroplane when it was moist, and now I'm driving through puddles with straight on traction. But the
Continentals are usually quite good in the rain, like the DWs that we had.
Yes.
On the Mercedes,
that
yeah.
got a 6th in the wet skid pad in 1 lap.
It was
giant
crazy.
stock Mercedes. It didn't
They
make any
call
sense
it
at all.
Mercedes too, yeah.
Nobody
Wow.
could
Yeah, so-
believe it.
That's
I
how
rocked
things
I
are
rocked
wet. They're
the
amazing.
DSWs, the snow version of those, and they were excellent also.
Yeah.
Snow.
Yes.
Oh, that's
snow tires.
They don't
that's
sell
that
them
crap
to
you
you.
guys brought down
Horses.
here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true.
That
We
curse
did
that we
that.
inflicted upon you that one time.
It gets a little cold and
So,
stuff.
So I rejoined the SCCA after I was listening to Ross Bentley's podcast, and Haywood Wagner, the new chairman of membership activities, was on there. And their new focus in the SCCA is fun with cars. And I remember back when they were the secret car club of America, and you had to be like part of the membership, and they were chasing new members away by droves. And they have changed that attitude completely. So I stumbled through trying to register for this track night. The membership chairman sees my email, gets me on there, saves me $50 using the Coney 2018, which will save you money on any SCCA track night entry fee. Saves you $50.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And they put it in there. They're like, hey, we found you a discount code, and emailed me and got my membership renewed and everything. And then when I emailed them back and said, hey, can I reschedule this? I immediately got a confirmation email from both the Jack Track, which is their kind of ask anybody email address, and also the membership chair. They rescheduled me for June 7th. So the SCCA has stepped up their game. I think they recognized where some of their customer service and their mentality was lacking, and they want people back in that club, and they are making it happen.
That's
I
awesome.
think it would be a good show episode if all of us went to, I mean, obviously, Mental, you can't go to the same one Chrissy and Jeff and I did, but if we all went to the same track and Mental, if you go to one at a similar date, and then we can all talk about what our experiences were like.
Well,
by doing that. If we do it in our
June 7th.
So are we.
We're going to we're going to a NASA
Not the same. Sorry.
Summit Point.
Yeah.
But
Hey, summertime's coming up, and if you find one, Pitts Race is a day's drive. I could do Pitts Race.
And JMP is doing them constantly. I'm sure if we can pick one.
And JMP has one a month.
Let's make it happen. You know,
And there are a couple
I
of Pocono too. If you wanted to run Pocono, that's there.
I need to check that one off the list. I've never run Pocono.
It was fun in the Mercedes. I had 140 in the top of the triangle.
don't think you'd do 140 if you dropped my car out of an airplane.
There's that.
Close.
That's why they call it Long Pond. The NASCAR
right.
joke. Let's keep going. Who's up? Oh, it's me, isn't it?
Jeff.
I will talk about
Yes,
what I'm
it
working
is.
on. So we are in the race hangover period. So basically, I come home and I look at all the mess that I left all around my life because I was preparing for a race. So I'm cleaning the house and unpacking the tools. And let me tell you that vinyl cutting till 3 a.m. for several days in a row is quite a mess. There are little chunks of sticker everywhere.
The little corners and the little
oh yeah, everywhere. I was weeding a lot of stuff. So yeah, so that's really messy. I also came home and my wife said, "There's a hole in my tire."
Aw.
My wife, Subaru, can pick up screws better than a magnet. I don't know why, but I think she's had this car 3 years, and I've done 3 different patches in 2 different sets of tires. So yeah, I don't know why. 422.com sucks.
Yeah, quite. There's no .com. No,
Yeah,
There's no-
Chrissy
yeah, I
does
know.
it
sucks. Yeah.
as much as
No,
Jen
I thought-
does.
Well, we're going to buy that
Wait,
website,
what'd you say?
422sucks.com.
No, it already exists, and it's amazing. They're the best. If you're from King of Prussia area, like Pottstown and King of Prussia, I live by it. I don't go anywhere without it. It's true. 422 sucks is awesome. Sorry.
And it's a website.
I thought that was another joke you guys were
No.
making.
No. It is an actual website dedicated to how bad this road
And they
sucks.
have they have text that if you're on the text line, they'll tell you when there's an accident, and then I know which way to go. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's a very informative service that they have.
Quite.
absolutely.
We'll post a link up in the show notes there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm
Sure.
not, you got a lot of Pennsylvania listeners. I
So
almost sold a Porsche to a guy who lives in your town.
the other thing I want to mention is that it
ridiculous.
is the Cub Scouts Blue and Gold this weekend. So I have been building a bridge. Yes, you heard that right. A bridge. There's a little wooden thing that sits on the ground and it looks like a bridge. And when the Cub Scouts become Boy Scouts, they walk over it.
Yep.
And they have to burn their names in it with like a little burner. And I was told before I leave the race, I must deliver the planks
You
for
didn't-
the new bridge.
You did
I
not.
did. I did.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying
yeah.
that you were supposed to do something. and you
No,
didn't.
no. So I had to like saw them, and now I have the planks and have to build the rest of the bridge.
Oh.
So that's what I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
Chris, you're next.
Okay. So when we got home on Monday, we got home Sunday, it was fine. Monday, unpacked the truck, not the car. We put the truck back, we put the trailer back with the car on it, and there's probably still stuff in it. And just trying to get back to life after the race. Clean most of our containers and, try to clean up the house a little bit. We also had a mess around here, but sounds like not nearly as bad as Jeff's. So, and now I'm on to wedding prep because one of our race friends reminded me yesterday, or us.
Hamza, we know you're listening,
Yes.
and we all applaud your efforts.
Right. So he says, "Hey, do you want to give us some information about this shindig?" And I said, "Sure." So we're working on it. It's really, my life has been like one event, next event, race. Oh, okay. Now everything else. So that's what I'm getting on. So I have a quick story and I decided to put it in here. So today I have it's probably like a safety tip, but don't reverse at a stoplight. So I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's
done.
kind of like right up there with like don't lick outlets.
Yeah. Oh, no, this is Tide Pods. Or the lawn. That was the other one. After
Or your hands at a car show.
all of these things. I haven't done this in a while, but so the gate on my manual Mazda 3 between reverse and first is a little iffy, and today.
Well, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, so I usually know where it is because I drive it every day. But today, I decided to put it into reverse instead of first, which made it exciting for the person behind me.
And did you hit them or not?
I did not hit. No, if I hit them, I would be very upset. But no,
Just checking.
no. But
Well, it's only because we have the 6-speed swap in that car. And so they're normally on the 6-speed cars, there's a different shifter
Yep.
box in the car with a little detent gate thing that holds you out of reverse. But we don't put that. We didn't put that in because
Because that's for sissies.
Well, right,
Yeah.
and I usually know how to drive my car, but every once in a while you like put it in first. You're like, is that really in first? So today I backed up at a light, and I'm sure the person behind me was terrified because
I love that Chris is out of town and you still drive your Mazda instead of the NSX or the Mercedes.
It's raining like crazy here. If I took that out, he would know, and then I would get in trouble. So I don't even bother.
It's like
it would
risky
be
business.
dirty. It would
Right.
be dirty.
And then he would know, and then even if I can't even wash it because it's raining. So
I say he wouldn't know that it was dirty. He would know because it was cleaner than when he left it. 'Cause
yeah,
you know
there you go.
you would scrub the entire thing spotless.
That's probably.
I'm adding things to my show notes as we speak. You're reminding me.
Okay, all right, Chris, what are you doing?
Aside from all of the race prep, which we're going to talk about later, we put new tires in the NSX. That's exciting.
Woo!
Falcon Azenas 615Ks come in the random stock sizes for the NSX. They don't match anything, and that nobody actually has, especially the front wheels are 215, 40, 17. Nobody makes those. And Falcon has a lovely $100 rebate card if you buy them a set of 4 before the end of May. So if you haven't done so yet and you'd like to, it's a great time to buy some Azenas.
Did you pull that Delaware trick of yours?
Yes.
Yes.
That's when Jeff and Jim went and bought 3 sets of tires and brought them to, and stuffed them all in and on his Mazda 3.
Jeff, is there still a roof rack on your Mazda?
There is. I haven't taken it off
my
yet.
goodness.
Been very busy.
I mean, I'm sure it looks so awesome, but
Well, yeah,
Gas
but
mileage.
you go to a college. Plus, it's hipster stuff. You got to sticker bomb the front of it now,
Mhm.
and
No.
yeah. We'll do it for you.
it just looks good. And
Chris, you working on anything else? You want to tell the world where you are right now?
I'm currently sitting in a Marriott Residence Inn in Hartford, Connecticut, because that's where I am for work right now.
Woo!
Oh, another work trip.
Right. Corporate travel is so exciting. Magically whisked away to a moderately priced hotel in Hartford.
I
Yay.
didn't think anyone could send you to shittier places than the Air Force sent me for years. But yeah, I'll pick Abu Dhabi over Hartfurt, Connecticut.
Oh,
this,
no.
this room is quite actually fantastic.
Because he's
It's
in a residence inn.
Yeah,
Oh, I like
it's a loft suite, so I have actually like 15-foot ceilings, and there's a separate bed area with a loft and a huge kitchen, and this.
No, I'm talking about Hartford, not the room.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
well,
right
no,
exactly
you-
downtown, and my company owns like half
Half
of
of
downtown.
downtown. It's true.
So
So
yeah.
I will be next week. I'll actually be off site and in.
now there's
another-
a worse place to go. Where you're at.
I'm going to somewhere.
Where is Strickland Propane sending you?
Oh man, Kokomo, Indiana. It is about an hour and a half.
You said Kokomo, and I got excited for that.
Right?
Like,
Right?
No.
Kokomo, that's beautiful.
It sounds
Yeah.
great. No,
talking about
It's
Indiana.
not a Beach Boys song.
It's
No.
it's an hour
It's
and a half
nowhere.
north.
Bahama. Oh, I
Yep.
wanna take.
That sounds like Kokomo. That sounds like a Strickland Propane sales pitch. Well, I run a private tutoring for those interested in propane. All you got to bring is a thirst for knowledge and a thirst for margaritas. It's in Kokomo, Indiana.
Indiana. All right, so that's where I'll be next week. Okay, we can move on.
Oh, news and
Wow.
notes. We have so much to cover this
So
week.
much news and
And
notes.
we're
So much.
gabbing and laughing. Let me
It's
begin by
been 2
saying,
weeks. I missed you guys.
been 2 weeks. We have so much stuff.
Well, we've
But
seen each other in
miss
between
us.
there,
We
but
saw
okay.
you at the race. Well, I was
We
in
were-
a
we
hot
were-
tub with you.
We were busy. I
We were
told you guys.
busy.
I told you guys to record at the hot tub. It would have been awesome.
I know we should have. So it is green. It is number 13, and it is back at Indy. In case you haven't seen it, Danica Patrick, although she is retired, has unretired, just like the Rolling Stones,
Get out. Really?
and has an Indy 500 ride.
She's retired from NASCAR. She's an open wheel person. She's always been open wheel.
Yes. So she finished her practice sessions last week. She requalified for her Indy license because she had lost it. She had to go to like Indy rookie camp. And-
She's like, we're going with noobs, and you're like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
HPD
yeah.
1 for Danica. Yeah.
Been here.
Or at least 2. Come on.
Yes.
What we're going to talk
So-
about, Danica, is the traction circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Here's the
Here's
line.
the point by.
Right. Sorry.
So there was a great quote because obviously wherever she goes, the reporters follow, and she basically said that stock cars are way easier to drive than Indy cars. So suck that, you redneck mofos If you want to hear the quote, we'll post
Yes,
the link.
yes,
It's there.
because our form of racing is more challenging. Yes,
All right, I'll say
I'm
right
so
now.
insulted.
Quote, all the IndyCar fans out there might find this warm and fuzzy, but everyone would always ask me if I had a hard time driving those big old stock cars around and if they were really physical. And I'm like, and then she snickered, no, they're way easier than an IndyCar to drive. So there it is. She's got her license. She'll be back Memorial Day weekend. It is green. It is sponsored by
GoDaddy.
whoever the hell that was. GoDaddy. Which I didn't know this, but they said in the article that green is an unlucky color for race cars.
What?
I never heard that.
I was watching Fox Sports had a little bit with Lynn St. James. She's still racing. She's in her 70s. So Danica's got.
James is still racing?
She's moved on to his. In fact, she was also on Ross Bentley. She was talking about she's annoyed because her eyes don't work as well as she wants them to, so she knows she's slower. But she still does a lot of historic stuff, and she still gets a couple of contract rides. She's done Le Mans a few times. She'd love to get back to Indy, but she knows she can't. But I think we'll see Danica for years.
Did she
probably.
Did she say when she said she was going to retire? Did she say just from motorsports or just from whatever she was doing?
She said she was retiring from professional racing.
And she's still doing professional racing.
And no. She GoDaddy obviously backed up a truckload of money to her house and said, "Don't you want one more?"
I think it's just contract. It's just contract work. We're going to pay you to drive this race.
Yeah,
we're not going to pay you for a season.
Oh, she just now, right now?
No. She said she was retiring from professional racing, and we wouldn't see her again. And then she said, "I couldn't resist going back to Indy 500."
People give her a lot of money.
I couldn't resist the check.
Because she hasn't won yet. She hasn't won an Indy 500. She wants to really bad.
I want her.
She always has. She's led more Indy 500s than any other female driver. She's led more laps.
Well, that's not saying much. There aren't many female drivers.
Well, and she has won Indy race two Indy races, and never won a NASCAR race. So
I don't think she ever won a 500.
No, she never won an Indy 500, but she won.
Yeah.
God,
no.
I read it and I don't remember. I think it was Motegi.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, she can drive. That's just
absolutely
fact. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, let's keep going.
Keep going. All right. Are we doing the Toyota thing, or am I going to talk about the Black Iron guys?
Talk about Black Iron.
So this was great. It's going to be up on. It's going to be on the show notes. So a couple of weeks ago on Hooniverse, Eric Rude sent us this link. The Black Iron guys, Dan Gillis, old OG from the GRM message board. They've got a V8 swapped E36 that they made into a camper. You've seen the photos on all the 24 Hours of Lemons. They run all the West Coast races. It's stupid fast. And if you haven't watched the Hoonigan show, they invite them to do donuts, and they full up ripped this thing in the Hoonigan parking lot right up until the point where they smacked the loading dock and then had to fix it because they're at Thunderhill this weekend. So they hooned the crap out of that thing, and it was awesome. Dan was actually driving it. It was fantastic.
And you're burying the lead. They have a camper shell
on top
of it.
On a V8. It's a plywood camper shell on top of a V8 swapped E36 BMW. It is all kinds of awesome.
Some sort of Chevy V8 in there, right?
Yeah,
they've got a little
pink bicycle. They've got a little pink bicycle welded to the back of it like an RV, and the pink bicycle actually survived the contact with the loading dock.
Wow.
Nice.
Now that's how you get a V8 swapped E36 in without laps, is you make it a camper.
You make it a camper. And these are the same guys that did the motorcycle swap Geo Metro, the Metronome. So yeah, those guys know how to make an insane car fast. We're going to apologize to our friends from Champ Car, WRL, Can-Am, the Can-Am Endurance Series, Lucky Dog, all those guys. We're 2 weeks old, so we're not going to do a recap of all your events, including the little secret one you guys did up in Canada, but good to all those winners. But on the Lucky Dog team site, there was a team named RacingRuinedMyLife.com.
Wait, that was like their, like, what they put into, like, Race Monitor kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Racing Ruined My Life, and they spelled out .com, but I went to the website and see if this sounds familiar. If you're reading this, then racing has already ruined your life, or it is about to. If you've already been ruined by racing, then you get it. Your weekends, paychecks, blood, sweat, tears have all been wonderfully consumed by racing. If your life hasn't been ruined yet, then use this as a guide and a directory how to best accomplish that. You could start with AutoX, go-karting, video games, or jump headfirst into wheel-to-wheel racing. We race in NASA and Lemons, which are two very types of racing with two completely different smiles per dollar ratios.
Oh, that's cute.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's like a blog. It's like they just make posts.
They haven't updated it, but I just love that intro. Coming up this weekend, we got our folks at AAR going right back to NJMP where we just left, including a couple of the racers that was there. I know it's a lot to cover. 56 entries, 3 of them on the wait list. I know there's a couple missing because Rally Baby wasn't on there. Neither was Don Sykes and his team. 29 BMWs out of 56 entries. I thought Chris would find that interesting. And yeah. Now, a couple of the ones, we'll just go through some ones that we loved as they stuck out in us. And the one that stuck out at me was Big Chicken Motorsports and a 1999 Pontiac Trans Am.
I hope something is swapped in there.
I hope.
No, that's probably got an LS, and that's going to be fast. It's going to make noise. And
Yes, it is.
And all them rednecks are going to go, yeah.
like mental.
Thunder Chicken, right? You put a Thunder Chicken on the hood of that, and then you're doing it right.
Boom.
Can't wait to see pictures.
Yeah. Chris, I highlighted a couple of teams for you. I thought you would enjoy.
I don't know what these fools are thinking running AER in their 87 CRX SI. I had an 87 CRX
It's exciting.
SI that had a double cam Integra swap and conies and all kinds of stuff, and it still would only run like a 15.4 in the quarter mile. And eventually that car got turboed and got quite fast, but it wasn't reliable. So they're going to
make somebody mad. They're going to beat somebody, and that person's going to be angry.
Well, of course they're going to beat somebody, but they're also going to be the back marker
50.
for the rest of the field as like the C6 Corvettes and Caymans go by at double the speed. Like they've gone the Plaid, and there's the CRX going like, yep, all right.
Right, point by. Yes, point by.
Then I also see that,
this is point by.
Speaking of Hondas, there's an S2000 out there. That's great. Good for them getting an S2000 out running there. Cool. Perfect.
Jeff?
Like that was it for me.
Do you want me to cover Keystone Cops? Keystone Cops. Number 240 Volvo 244. We know these from Lemons. They have been running there for years. They are also frequently, and at the last race, part of the team that does the Alex's Lemonade stand sponsorship. So.
Yep. Say hi to Diane.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we did say hi to Diane.
Well, everybody who's racing AER should do the same.
And another team I'm not familiar with, but I loved it, is the Panda Dragon at Bacawana Racing and their 1999 Porsche Boxster, the Whoop-Ass Edition, which I'm totally getting those logos. I'm getting those logos for my car.
And they put that on as the part of the
it
car.
Is. If you haven't been to AER's webpage, their spotter's guide, it is really, their web design is really, really slick. It is cool. And it is the 1999 Boxster Whoop-Ass Edition on their spotter page.
All right. And so
they've always been good with their technical stuff all around.
Yes,
that's their strength.
It is, absolutely. And so there's an awesome team running a 1990 BMW 325. It's a bunch of women. They're from Shift Up, which I was loosely going to get involved with them. They're a bunch of fantastic women. Some of them drive more than others, but it should be pretty good. A lot of them are not semi-professional, but do a lot of the other circuits, and I'm very familiar with them. So good luck to them.
You should still join that team if they've got an opening.
They're a little faster than me, but maybe we'll consider.
Yeah. Not a BMW.
Okay, do it. And then there's Tetanus.
Yes. So I texted Chris Champion because there's a team called Tetanus, and he went, really? And so he's going to have Don Sykes. He's going to have Don Sykes and Mike Carr walk by all weekend and ask them, where's Chris and Mary? Where's Chris and Mary?
Really?
There's an anus in there somewhere.
Interesting.
Where are the kids?
Right?
Where's Mary?
Freaking facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on. My dogs are barking. Let me go close my door. Continue the podcast without me.
What? Dogs disrupting a podcast? I can't believe he's so unprofessional.
They only shake, I thought.
No, that's Mental's dogs. Okay,
yeah,
so you had a question here.
Well, so I was going through the AR webpage, and I kept noticing the same bunch of names. Like Alex Rubenstein is like running 2 cars, and Maglione is running 3 cars. But there were 8 teams that they had the same last name. I think one was a couple, but the rest of them were actually, they looked like siblings or same-sex marriages. And it's cool. It's cool either way. But how many listeners? We've got Jeff and Jim, and they actually get along really well. And I remember a Grassroots Motorsports Challenge years ago with Mike and Maddie White talking about the only time they saw each other was at the racetrack. So wanted to throw this up there to our listeners and have them post up on the Facebook or the everyone.racers@gmail.com. Do you run with your sibling or your significant other? Do you have the same last name as someone on your team? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What are some great stories? Is this where you bond? Is this where you fight?
Well, let's not forget the Nanamakers, siblings.
Absolutely.
IMSA racers.
They should totally post on our Facebook page.
And there have been
Totally.
plenty of lemons like Rob and Lori Leone from Schumacher Taxi. They run out. They run together. You know,
Chris and Mary.
Chrissy and I, Chris and Mary.
I was going to say
right?
the Egan's is a whole family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Ah.
So.
And now our favorite listener,
Bill.
Number one
Bill.
listener, Bill
Yes,
Fisher.
number one.
and
Bill Fisher, his whole house.
Yep.
Right,
The whole house,
and
the whole
his son
kids.
Liam, and and his daughter. I forget his daughter's name. She was super fun, but what was her name?
So,
Well,
So post up on our Facebook, send us an email, tell us some stories, give us some feedback on what it's like. Is that the only time you get to hang out? I would love for my brother to come racing. He gets terrified driving in traffic, and it just wouldn't work. He'd make like 2 laps, he'd pull in and be like, yeah, that ain't cool. I ain't doing that. So,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Lemons
Let's
at
talk about
Thunderhill.
lemons at Thunderhill.
Lemons at Thunderhill.
Okay,
Sunday.
So Eric Rude posted, he gave us a little info here. He said, Lemon's first CRV, a Mustang 2, and the Model T's new owners that haven't crashed it yet. I don't know about some of this.
Oh, I didn't. Did you know that? Did they?
I
No,
had
no
no
clue.
idea.
What?
well then.
Okay.
So the
Let's have that
Porsche,
comment from Eric now.
so there's some kind of Porsche Chevy with a
It's a
side 30 front
944.
clip.
It's a 944 with a C30 front clip. It literally looks like something out of the last Mad Max movie. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a Chevy truck front end and a Porsche.
Nice.
It's excellent.
That's awesome. Hooniverse's Ranchero, Conrad Stevenson's Altamont Era Alpha. Wow, Altamont, the very first Lemons race ever, and that Alpha is still running. And I believe Jeff Glenn crashed that at Sonoma, right?
Yeah.
That
What
is,
was he? Spring City Race.
Spring City Race champion.
1993.
Right.
I
All
think.
cities.
Yes.
1993. All cities.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Anton will be there with the Volvo, Nash Metropolitan, Jeep
Oh.
Stang, about 125 cars, which is right about where it was last year, a little lower than what we had this week, but there it is. And Mental put in the notes here, 21 BMWs, 12 Hondas, 9 Miatas, 6 Porsches, mostly 44s and 24s, but the Boxster, and 6, count them, 6
RX-7.
Magic Spinning Triangle RX-7.
And that's great.
Battling Doritos.
I bet they're very happy because then they can swap parts, and there's more of them than just like 1 or 2. When one of them brokens, and you can go, breaks to go the other way. Okay.
Got any Apex seals?
Are they breeding? Is that what's going on? Are they like
Maybe.
tribbles?
Yes.
Maybe. So, thank you, Eric, for giving us all the interesting things. I have chosen all of the
Doritos.
not interesting things. So, Tiny Vet will be there with their Opel GT, which is fantastic.
Repainted and rebuilt, by the way.
Yes. So
Still
hopefully,
yellow, but they did a lot of body work putting it all back together.
hopefully it all works as well as they deserve some good times because they've had some bad times at Lemons races. Overzet with his 2 Honda Civic and the Wago van, they'll be there. I don't even know who this is, but I really liked it. There is a Hyundai Elantra. That's not the part that I like. But their team name is called Safety Third Kim Jong Elantra. So I left it in here because I was like, that's amazing. So Tetanus, Onset Tetanus will be there with their Volvo 544, which would be fantastic. And I also had here squirting Coronas in a BMW.
The story of that was Dan, who rented a Spec E30 and entered in the race, and he was going to run the entire race by himself
before he broke his arm.
And we'll talk about what happened to Dan.
Dan is not going to do that anymore.
Never mind.
Sad
I
trombone.
had no idea.
I did remember hearing that, but when I looked at the list, I forgot about it. Okay, Mental, you had a couple of you picked up.
So one of the ones that stood out there is the Hella Shitty and the Occupy Pit Lane, because those were both the guys that made fun of the Grid Girls. So that's good on them, and so I already like that team. The other one is the 70s called. They want their RV back. We just talked about them. That's the Black Iron Boys and the rebuilt Hoonigan damaged E36 V8 swap. That car will be a front runner because those guys can wheel. And then another good one was the Punishing Probe, not because it's a Punishing Probe, because they listed it in the thing as a 1993 Ford Probe G motherfucking T. So I already like their attitude. I think they've got a great approach to it. And the one
And he just lost your dad.
Oh, sorry.
The one that fell off the list I want to throw in there
Oh,
is
I'm sorry
Cerveza
about-
Racing. They've got an old BMW 5 Series, and I've run against them in the Midwest. They are always a front-running team. They're always quick. They're always clean.
They're amazing.
They are
They
amazing.
are. That's a solid team, so I'd expect to see them do quite well as well.
That's why I took them off, because they're always really good, and they're always.
Yeah,
Meh.
no, sorry, I didn't mean. I'll shut up on there. But now we were talking about lemons. We can't talk about lemons. We're talking about how some of the boys did it in JMP.
So okay, go ahead.
No,
Me?
go.
Okay, so this is kind of this was supposed to be our preview, and I kind of added some notes for the ones that I knew about. Supposedly there was 17 Hondas, 19 BMWs, 5 Miatas. All of them probably did. All of them did not make the end of the race because one of them was ours. Go ahead, Jeff.
There was also some new trucks. This was the
Lots of
most
trucks.
trucks
So many.
ever at a Lemons race. I believe it was 5.
Okay.
5.
There was the Ombre,
So we had
the
the Ombre,
Dakota,
Dakota, the other S10,
Ranger.
the yellow one.
Ra-
There was the
yellow one.
Ranger.
the Ranger,
There was two
and
races.
then
Oh, there's 2 Rangers. That's right. There's Hit 'em with the Hind, and there was the really tragically awful
the
Gulf-colored one.
Gulf-colored one. Yep.
How about a Durango?
And then-
Durango?
and there's
Can you add
Durango.
that?
Good. That Gulf-colored thing sounded really nice.
Holy
I thought it was
body
302
roll.
until we talked to him.
Okay. All right, good. So we had a lot of trucks. That's great. So Rally Babies, AMC Hornet, they did pretty well. So they were P5 on Saturday, or excuse me, P5 and B, not overall, on Saturday. And then they had a bunch of mechanical problems on Sunday. So shout out to Phil and his team. They're fantastic, and we love them.
They are excellent.
I love seeing it out there.
Yeah,
and Phil
it is
can
great.
wheel that car. He wheels that car better than he has any right to.
And he loves it too. So he has such a
It's his
love
child.
It's awesome. So T-Far for winning. I was just going to mention them before that they're friends running the golf. That's Tom Lamina, who's also run with us, and they won Class B. So welcome to Class A. That's awesome.
That's Tom's thing. Is he wins B class in New Jersey because when he ran with us in the Honda,
Yeah, he won-
We
that
won
was-
B class.
Yeah, that's totally true. So,
Buddy.
so Mental previously wanted to mention the this glue stick.
Yeah,
We'll just
I was
keep
all,
going.
I was all excited that there was a Jaguar X-Type, and then Saturday night in a bit of alcohol-fueled negotiation, is this a new 3-pedal Mafia car or not?
I don't know.
No.
No.
And we may own it, but we ain't running it.
Right. So I just left that in there because we might be
Got, got to talk with them. Great team, great bunch of folks. Fun.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just gloss over that. So, sorry for party. They were solidly in the top 10, but I don't. Some flags contact we know from our own experience, but I don't know where they ended up. But I couldn't find it. So anyway, so
They were in the teens, low teens.
Yeah.
They got beat by both of our cars. So.
yes, totally.
Yeah, they were top 10 after some.
Yes, hit crashy stuff. So, Futility Motorsports are friends with the Egan's. They did, I think they did pretty well. They had some, a little bit of mechanical issues. And, Science Project, they had some crashy, they have 2 cars and they're kind of friends with us. Chris kind of helped them along. And, they had some issues definitely towards the end of Sunday, at least in one of their cars.
Well, their white car got really
messed,
badly
yeah.
damaged. I think that car's done. Apparently, as they were coming around in a turn onto the straight, somebody lifted, and the car went around and into the guardrail really hard in the back. That car's trashed.
They did that, or somebody went into them?
No, I think it was a by themselves kind of thing.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I don't think they hit
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
that
a
was
shame.
a shame.
Chris, I don't know if you noticed, but that thing looked like a monster truck. They
That
went
was the
back
black
to
one.
the stock
Yeah,
suspension.
it's all the way
Yeah.
up.
The
Oh,
black
no, the
one,
black
white
one.
one that crashed.
the black
The
one
white
had
one
a rally.
crashed.
It was basically looking like a rally car or higher. And the white one was the better suspension, and that's the one they crashed really badly. So hey, they're going to be looking out for another Integra.
Totally. Okay, so I'm gonna just run through a couple more. Rally Baby had some other cars there. I think they brought 4 total, but I only had 2 here listed. Sputnik came out with their Sentra. They just did some stuff.
Now with
like
more roof.
more roof. And so then our friends from Vermont Bertone came out, and we saw them. And so if anybody happened to be keeping track of the race on during on Race Monitor or connecting with friends, and it went all over Facebook. There was a red flag on Sunday, and they were very much involved. And this is kind of what we were getting at when we were saying that Dan was going to be running with by himself. Vermont Bertone and another vehicle, another BMW, ran into each other, hit the wall, and crashed. Both of them have moderate damage. I think both of them aren't totaled. But that all came about when the Ranger lost its transaxle
Transmission.
and they spread stuff all over the track. Either it was oil or parts, and one of them tried to brake, the other one didn't see it, and that's kind of the story we know. But Bert is one of those that was affected, unfortunately.
We don't want to get too deep into CSI, but it definitely looks like they all happened at the same time. We're assuming it was an oil down track. But yeah, the Ranger, I got a good look at the Ranger. It's hit him with the Hind Ranger. I helped them kind of build their cage back in the day by giving them some advice on the internet, not actually touching it. And yeah, their tail shaft just destroyed itself and threw ATF all over the track. And slammed the drive shaft all over the place and actually punctured their stock fuel tank on the Ranger, and poured a bunch of gasoline right on the track.
On top of ATF, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then, didn't Dan say something about one of the cars under braking, like collapsed an A-arm or something too?
Well,
the car suddenly cut right.
Yeah, the really terrible E30. I mean, these guys are so bad. They have Nitto NT 450s as tires, and
I hope they're not listeners. They might be listeners.
Then they need to upgrade their tires because
call us
back
then.
in 2002, those were not good tires, and I don't know why they're even still available now. But anyway, they just had their car just went hard right, and they thought it was a broken tire because in the end they had a broken tire, but we're not sure if that was caused by the impact or it was the cause of the impact. But it could have just been their right wheels were on the slick left by hitting with the hind, and that's why they went right or left wheels or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Two wheels on slick, 2 wheels on pavement. You brake hard, the car is going to turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So.
But it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't crappy, aggressive driving. It was just bad circumstances.
Wait,
don't know.
I don't want to get too deep into the CSI, so
Yeah.
we don't really know.
Yeah,
I've tried not to accuse anybody of anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
sinister.
were asking. So, hey, Chris, do you want to talk about something that you had on here?
Yeah, well, hey, our friends Eric Phipps and Travis and the boys in their unreasonably hopeful racing Subaru Forester, they did great. They ran most of the weekend. They had some tragic wheel bearing problems, which is not a surprise to anyone that's ever had any dealings with a Subaru.
They said it was pretty awesome to drive.
Yeah, at the end of the day Sunday, like you could just kind of grab the wheel and just move it around, one of the back wheels. It didn't take any effort.
They kind of did the like, like the grinding noise.
Yeah.
They said it was pretty.
Actually, the Egan's had the same problem on Sunday.
Oh, is that
they too were fighting a wheel bearing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Durango that was out there, damn, that thing was awful. And I think half the reason it was
so
awful
bad.
is that they made it a panel van. They blocked off all the rear windows and wrapped it with some kind of advertisement. But that meant they couldn't see a damn thing.
And they were rolling on 20s.
That's what you.
weren't they?
Yeah,
That's what you
some
blame
kind of
it
chrome
on, though?
dubs.
Like
I think that's part of it because they really couldn't see anything around.
Okay, that's a good,
And
nice blame then,
that,
I suppose.
Right, I think that's dangerous. They obviously had no idea what they were doing.
But I do love fake Newtons.
Yeah, great.
I
And
want to
let's
mention
see-
that if you want to learn more about that, they have a great 22-minute video of their build that is all over the Lemons Facebook pages.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's well done. It's just the team is horrible and the car is horrible.
Unlike their Durango.
The video is well done. The car was sucky.
There was a 92 Acura Legend out there that I barely saw. I think it broke a lot. I thought it was cool. It was a 92
That the
Legend.
4-door green one?
Yeah.
It sounded healthy when I was behind it.
Yeah, and then
Then I would pass it.
our
Number
super fan,
one listener.
Bill Fisher and his great family are in their garage years in training Capri. And that car, I drove it for half an hour on testing day. It is not a turd. It was actually pretty decent. And I know they made some nice changes to it. And I think they all had a great time. I think we might have Bill back on to tell us about his experience and what he learned.
Totally.
And how we led him astray.
And they themed pretty well too. They had some pictures on the
Costumes
Limits
were
wrap
great.
up.
Their costumes were
absolutely.
great.
They did a
And
great job.
Avengers.
They had a really great first race weekend, I think, by all accounts. So that's wonderful to hear and see. And we were thrilled to be able to help them do any of that stuff. So, and also there's.
I was gonna say, how about the teams that didn't have a great weekend?
Yeah, well, there's the other pedal family, who
We thought was making fun of 3 Pedal, but turns out they were doing a Partridge Family thing, which was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but we still helped them. Actually, we didn't help them all that much. Well, who helped them was mostly Chris Egan and Eric
Phipps
welding it with New Cage on there. on their car, half of a new cage in our paddock using Bruce and Greg Welder. So we really didn't do anything to help them.
We were going to, but then they had the option of having Eric weld, and who wouldn't take that option?
Yeah, sure.
And we were busy though, really.
I was doing a decent amount of welding on that until the Civic was broken. And then I was kind of like handed the welding gun to Egan and said, "Hey, can you do this for a minute?" And then I never went back.
A couple hours later.
But did you say what happened to them?
Oh, so I can explain. The cage was tragically unwelded around all of the feet. Yeah. So that was that
was Saturday.
It was probably less than 30% of each foot was welded.
Oh, no.
And they needed a harness bar too, right?
And the harness bar had the bar across the main hoop, not a specific harness bar, but the actual main hoop bar was about a 77-degree angle down from the seat hole. So they were going to crush their spine, and they said, "Well, we didn't understand it because if we followed the directions, it did that, but that's not safe." Yeah,
that is
jerk
safe.
off. That's not safe.
So keep moving. So what? Then that was Saturday. Then they got back out on track.
They got back on track, and they immediately blew their motor.
Yeah, they threw a rod, and then they did an engine, and they were doing an engine swap on Sunday.
Some team gave them a motor, and they put it in. I mean, the place was just littered with Civics this race, and they put another one in, and they got like 7 laps at the end of the race. So.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think it. I don't think it.
They
didn't get it in.
Oh, they didn't get.
That's why they
never got back out.
That's why they didn't get.
That's why they got screwed.
Yeah, they didn't get heroic fix because they didn't actually get the engine in.
That's right.
Yep. Okay. So the other
Chris,
thing.
You have any others you want to talk about?
Mental had wanted to talk about the poor set.
Well,
it was cool. The poor set was cool.
It was cool, yeah. But the whole story, go to roadkill.com, read Eric Rude's fantastic write-up of the race this weekend, and he'll tell you all about the stuff that we loved.
Alrighty then. So
that's a lot of racetrack talk.
That is. Speaking of racetracks, Extreme Experience puts you in the driver's seat of some of the world's best supercars at over 20 racetracks in America and Canada with no speed limits, no shifting restrictions, and no governors. Head to xxspeed.com to choose your supercar, find a racetrack near you, and start making a story of your own. Here's the deal. There are 7 models of exotic supercars to choose from at every event. 20-plus tracks a year and a year-round location in New Orleans, Louisiana, with a 3,200-foot straightaway. Pro instructors like myself, Mental, and Jeff, duh. I'm reading that. Chris, Mental, or myself in the car with you, helping you explore the car's limits and learn how to drive the racing line. Save 25% when you use the code EveryoneRacers. That's no space, EveryoneRacers at xxspeed.com to book today. Extreme Experience, it's your turn. And I just want to mention that, hey, I know that there's other deals out there, but ours is a screaming deal, and they sponsor us. So use that Everyone Racers code on their website. Seriously. Because, hey, if nobody uses it, they're going to stop sponsoring us. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to read something like Twinkies, brought to you by Shutting Mental Up. And that just won't be as funny.
Okay, so let's move on to listener feedback. We had George C., who is a racer and XX instructor, gave us some feedback on Facebook. Or no, was it on Facebook? Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought it was on the never mind. Great listen.
But it was on the feedback page of the Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. So great listen for the average racer. Great listen while on long trips to the track and waiting in traffic. You guys rock. Thank you, George C. And thank you to those who posted up on the Facebook when we posted for the NJMP prep post. We asked what was going on, and a couple of people said something, and we appreciate it, but we're since we missed that podcast, we're not going to talk about it.
So Chrissy posted up, does anybody else wash the inside of their race car? And it turns out, yes, a great many of you are not dirty people.
I forgot what I posted.
You do wash the inside of your race car. And Santiago Daniel Iglesias mentioned there's dirt everywhere, and then he quantified that with rally car problems, and he had lots of pictures. And in fact, in his rally car, there is dirt everywhere. And then Eric Kritzer posts, I remember spinning off at Lime Rock in the grass and sliding along the dirt and grass just flew in my window. I was so ecstatic I didn't hit anything. I didn't see the 4 pounds of sodden dirt that it collected. I bet I could still find some of that dirt today, 8 years later.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've been there.
Well, I've been under the ombre, and all the grass and things is not there anymore from my last year at NJMP, straight into the dirt and the grass. But I just want to mention that a lot of people came over and talked to us at the track and came over for stickers, and a bunch of you just said how much they love the show. And I just want to say thank to everyone who came over. Don't have time to list everyone, but I saw a ton of E1R stickers on a lot of the cars at the track. We brought a bunch, and we ended up not giving as many out because, hey, y'all had it already. So thanks a lot.
If you don't, then leave us feedback, and we'll send you one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
there you go.
5 stars get you a sticker. Woo. You know what else was at the track that was really, really awesome? On like everybody's bunk when I got there at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh.
Cookies.
Well,
delightful.
It wasn't at everybody's. It was just yours, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, they were just fantastic cookies, and they didn't last more than 3 days. So you know who we always thank when we have good cookies? Our favorite listener.
Chrissy's mom.
Yay.
Listener number 1.
Yep, pretty much.
She's elevated. She's more than number 1.
Okay.
She's listener supreme.
Oh, great. Jeff, go ahead.
So I was going to say, main topic time. We are burning a ton of podcasts. We're running out of time. Let's go on to it. I have a feeling we are not going to finish this one on an hour. It is NJMP Recovery Show. We got a lot of things going on, and a lot of things to talk about. Chris, do you want to start with your new section, or should we do our sections first?
We can start. We can start with the news section. That's kind of a great way to start off and see where we are. So, a bit of backstory on our new section called "Joys and Concerns." This goes back to my high school homeroom, and I had an excellent history teacher who I thought was fantastic. And when we had homeroom meetings, he would have time for joys and concerns. So, whatever you had in your life that was a joy or a concern, you could talk about just to share with the group. And I've even brought this to work, and I have my team at work do joys and concerns, much to their chagrin most of the time, but I still force them to do it because I think it's fun. So we also used to do this after races when the 4 of us would get together and recap how things are. So I thought we could do a brief new segment after every race that we have of joys and concerns. So I'll start off with a joy. The Cressida had an amazing weekend. They came in 5th. After doing a motor swap on all night on Friday, those guys ran clean. They ran hard. They did a wonderful, wonderful job. That's a joy.
Yeah, they were excellent. They had a good team bonding and spending the entire night traveling about 2.5 hours to get the motor, to bring it back, to put it in, to no sleep, to all that stuff.
Oh, that's great. Then I don't have to talk about that later.
Yeah. So
you all just did it.
Here's my joy. Shout out to new 3-Pedal Mafia known associate Giant Dave. Yes, Giant Dave, who I went to Cub Scouts with, and I've known him since he's a wee lad, and now I know him as a wee adult. So he came, he showed up, and he was right in lockstep with us. He did a lot of decent work for us. He ran around. He was a great driver. And he
themed hard.
He themed hard.
He wore his costume.
Shaved his legs. We didn't even talk about the theme yet. We'll get to that.
Get there.
Giant Dave
he themed hard.
did a great job.
Well done, Dave. Well done. Great job. Thank you.
My joy is hanging out with friends. I no matter how bad the racing is and all the problems we have, I just enjoy hanging out. It's anywhere from just sitting in the garage when all the race cars are out on track and everything is going well, or when we are parked and sad, at least we have friends around. So I like this is a good excuse to just everybody come together and hang out. So that's my joy. Oh, and the hot tub. I love the hot tub.
Mental joys, or did you already do one? I lost track.
I know. I've not done. John, of all the races that I've been to, the hot tub is at. This was my first time in the hot tub. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'd never been in the hot tub, and one of the things that I kind of realized is we were in the hot tub, late Saturday night because everyone else was asleep, and I had forgotten. 3-Pedal Mafia, dude, do not bring it weak. That is, you guys are hard racing, hard wrenching, hard partying fools, and I had forgotten how hard. God. Would we get like 2 hours of sleep? God.
That wasn't much.
It's like 5, 4,
Yeah.
5.
I got plenty of sleep.
Oh, well, that's your normal, right, Jeff? Okay.
So, concerns.
I'll start with concerns. We made a whole bunch of stupid, avoidable mistakes this weekend, and it's now going to cost not only cost us time, it's costing us hundreds of dollars and lots of time to fix. And if we had not even broken the cars, we still would have come in very poorly. Just stupid, avoidable mistakes that we made this weekend that we have to tighten up.
Decent amount in the pits.
Problems
in the
all
pits.
over the place. All over the place. Stupid, avoidable mistakes that are not like us and that we have to do something about.
I think we showed up without a clean directive. It's one of the things I'm going to, we said, I don't think
there's a total quality management word.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I don't think we were all on the same page with what we were doing. And I think some of us took it a little light. Bam. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to object. Go on, Chrissy.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking. So I got out, and I was not as. This is a personal concern of mine. I was not as driving as well as I think I should be and could be. So I am making a plan on that, and I'm going, and I will, as I refine my goal to, and then come up with a plan on how to get to that goal. I will let you all know. So I have. I'm working on making me a better driver, is what it comes down to. That's my concern.
Okay.
This was my first 3-pedal Mafia race, actual showing up, driving with the 3-pedal Mafia, not, being in the same same area or, the truck disasters. It's the first time I showed up, I want to say since 2015. And I did not realize how out of sync I am with the team. And I showed up. I was an irritant. I was not part of the machinery. Dave was there. Dave was doing everything right, and I was doing everything wrong. And I love my job, but I don't see that changing. And I've got to figure out a way to get in the zone, and I've got to get out of my alpha male mentality when I get on the plane and get into a beta concept before I get show up at the track. And that was a problem for me all weekend.
Yeah, definitely a lot we can learn from this weekend.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say the same thing, that the team gel aspect, we got down and we let it get us down. And it was everything that Chris said and Chrissy said and Mental said happens every week. Every time you race, there is ups and downs. The idea is to go, screw it, I'm still racing, and stay up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we didn't do. We got knocked down, and we didn't get up again.
Oh, Chumbawamba.
Exactly.
That's not the song.
Jeff, we were halfway there because we did drink a whiskey drink, lager drink. We drank
I had a lager.
I don't think we had a vodka drink though.
No. We had. I think the other boys had gin.
Let's actually talk about what happened.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Mental, do you want to start with our theme? Because I think that's a great way to start.
That is a great way to
start. All right. So we're folks again.
This was all Mental's idea, by the way, and it was fantastic. Oh yeah, this was a drunken idea at Road Atlanta that you came up with, and we said, "This is amazing. We have to do this," and we did.
So, all right, folks, if you're almost on your way to work, it's about 10 minutes before the normal end of the show. And I did get a complaint from one of our listeners this weekend. He timed his drive into Boston based on our show, and we had one show that went 57 minutes. He's like, wait, no, I still have 3 minutes of commute. So this one's going to go long, folks. It's going to be a couple of days worth of listening. Our theme was the National Effing Champions. I had forgotten that this was my idea, but it was a team concept, and it was just kind of a mockery of how you never talk about who's the national champions. So to that end, if you go to Eric Rude's excellently written article on roadkill.com, which we'll have that link in the show notes, the cover photo is you, strikingly good-looking bunch of folks, in all of the most obnoxious championships that you could possibly come up with. You had curling champions, you have hot dog eating champions, you had Nacho Libres, you had Tom Effin Brady, who no one else on this podcast likes,
and his deflated ball.
And he sat and looked sad all day.
I looked sad all the time.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
You had Giant Dave doing Lance Armstrong. It was awesome. And folks, that's just the tip of the iceberg. All season long, it is going to be National Effing Champions because that's the 3-pedal Mafia. The graphics on Black Betty were fantastic. The graphics on the Cressida were next level mockery.
Total
yes.
Cheaties.
It was
Breakfast of the national effing
It
champion.
was so good.
Orange and blue.
I love Greg Smith's foam finger number one.
And that's actually, if you like Three Pedal Mafia on Facebook, that is the picture on that. That's our.
And they
our
were
cover
they
photo.
were the faux King National Dodgeball champions.
Yes.
Because apparently they have a Vietnamese restaurant. They serve a lot of pho. So
It was my favorite one was the sticker on the ombre, and I had my picture taken in my Michael Phelps wannabe outfit. And it was "Hold my trophy while I kiss your girlfriend."
Jeff said it all weekend.
Yeah.
I did. So I was dressed up as a Mexican wrestler, a lucha libre, and I had a championship belt that said National Effing Champions, an American flag and gold eagle wrestling mask, pants that were American flag, socks are American flag, gold boots, and I literally just went around all weekend long with
Trophies.
entirely too many trophies in my hand.
Oh,
Like 3 or
man.
4 of them at all times. And I would go to people and like, here, hold this. Don't get attached.
I keep thinking about Napoleon Dynamite with those your shorts that you had. You think anybody wants a roundhouse kick to the face when I'm wearing these babies right here?
Yeah.
These American flag pants.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff, as usual, you are the soul of our team and themed hard all weekend and was great about it. So, when you have a theme and you're going big with it, you got to have somebody like Jeff who's really owning it all weekend. That makes
Jeff,
it work.
there's
That's
never-
that's a what about you? Because when I say that the brief time you had, you owned that fit. So
Yeah, I was even gone a chunk of Friday, so I had to make up. Go
And-
ahead, Mental.
Well, and on top of that, what was great is how quickly you can pivot, because there you are over the top, American flag, everything, and then the Philly shows up, and you sit down and give one of the most honest, comprehensive, on-air interviews about what Lemons is about and what Three Pedal Mafia does that I've seen in the history of this series. And it was brilliant. And they used it as a voiceover for their entire video segment, which will also be in the show notes.
Yeah,
Philly.com.
myself and one other racer. I think they interviewed a lot of people, but I think they just used us too. Kind of did a great little video piece that was done by the Philadelphia newspaper, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and one of our teammates, who should remain short and pukey, was hitting on her pretty hard. I'm not going to say who. So, should we talk about the cars?
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, kick us
I
off.
was going to say, Chris, why don't you start with everything we did to the Civic and why we didn't have a show last week?
Or
Yeah, really. So the Civic, we wanted to experiment with 2 different things this time. First off, wheels and tires. I'd seen that Andy Hollis's One Lap CRX had, Andy Hollis is an incredible car tester and driver. He does a lot for GRM, and on his One Lap CRX, he found that the fastest setup he would have on the track was 15 by 9-inch wheels in the front with a 225/45/15. But sticking with 15 by 8s with a 205 in the back. So reverse stagger because front wheel drive. And these wheels do not fit a Civic at all. Like, you have to do all kinds of wacky things to get them to fit. He did it, and we did it too. And then we also decided to play with aero. We made a splitter out of plywood and fiberglass. We made an air dam out of a random roll of ABS plastic that I got in clearance at Speedway. We made an incredible diffuser out of stolen election signs and duct tape and fiberglass.
And fiberglass. Don't forget the fiberglass.
Absolutely fiberglass.
Lots
and
of
we made a bit of an
fiberglass.
under tray, again, out of stolen election signs.
Why do you
And,
guys sound like Matthew McConaughey when you say lots of fiberglass?
Because it was Jeff and I were both like, don't touch anything. Like,
Covered.
Chris, give me a glass of my wine. You had to put it in my mouth.
I had to pour it in your
because
mouth
because-
while you were doing the fiberglass.
Because I was sticky.
But you know what? And also we made a wing for the back. It was a $40 shipped wing on eBay that after they didn't ship it, they got here a week late. I got a refund on part of it, so it was even cheaper.
Oh, and then when we
fantastic.
broke it, it's not a big deal.
Hey, some poor Chinese 8-year-old got fired because that wing wasn't shipped on time.
Right, exactly. So, hey, in the end, even though we're notably down on power now from our last motor, like I used to get into 5th before start finish. Now I'm not getting into 5th at all, for example. We had lap times faster as our best lap in qualifying than we'd ever had before. So it works. It really works. And we did a lot of testing on Friday with it. We tried the wing at various angles of attack and also no wing. And we found a low angle on the wing was the best compromise. The car was loose, which I like it, but nobody else does. And there's a notable difference in straightaway speed at the end of the straight with the wing at full attack versus no wing. So, and with a low angle attack on the wing is kind of the best compromise. We worked on tire pressures, because this is all new setup for us, using our pyrometer on the tires to get that right. But, the whole front of the car is a wide body now. It's 4 inches wider than it used to be. It sticks out. And we had to redo. The reason we didn't have a show last week is we had to do an emergency redo of the entire front end. When after we first did it all, we said, this is great. Let's put it back on the ground. And even though I'd spaced it out plenty the first time I put it on, we first put it back on the ground. We had 1 1/4 inches of ground clearance. I could barely fit the toe of my sneaker under the splitter. So
measure twice, cut once, everybody.
Weld once in this case.
Weld once, yeah.
Right. So then trying to get it out of the trailer, hopeless. No matter how many wooden ramps I made.
You could hear the aggression in the text. We have to redo the whole front end of the Civic. It won't fit on the trailer. We can't do the podcast.
Yeah.
No podcast tonight.
Well,
Civic won't fit.
And Chris was flipping, and they were finally like, wait, race car or podcast? Sorry, but race car has to get on the trailer. So that's where
I had to cut
that
it
one
apart. So that Wednesday night, I worked until like 11 o'clock on the car from the time I got home, or from the time I realized it wouldn't fit. And then Thursday, that was Tuesday, it was whatever day it was, whatever. The next day I was working
Wednesday.
at home. And,
so much fiberglass, man.
Yeah. So that was the one thing I didn't have to redo was the fiberglass. It was all the mounts.
You just had to move it up higher, right?
Everything, right. So then the next day, like working at home, after Chrissy left, I worked for almost an hour on the car in the morning, got changed, worked. At lunchtime, I worked almost all of my lunch on the car. As soon as I was done, back on the car. Like, that's how much work it took to get the thing done. We just barely got it done in time. So that's why we didn't have a show. But hey, in the end, it actually really, really worked well until Jim crashed it.
Jim didn't crash it. Jim did not crash it. And that relates to our show topic that relates to our show topic for next week. Jim didn't crash it. I got it.
Jim was driving when it was crashed. Jim crashed
there it is. And that's a delineation. Jim was driving when it was crashed into.
I still think.
Okay.
I have a theory on this one, but I am not going to CSI it in public.
Yeah.
So
to the masses,
I have
our
a theory
our
because-
20s of listeners.
I know.
Here's
but
how it ended up, though. Here's how it ended up. We took damage to the wheels on the left side. That loosened up an upper ball joint and broke a tie rod end, not fully broken through, but cracked it and bent it. And then also nicked a tooth out of our steering rack. And that's what put us on the trailer halfway through Saturday, where the piece was missing out of the steering rack. Anytime you would turn it right with any kind of load on the tires, it would click. You'd feel it move. We couldn't find a manual 89 Civic steering rack anywhere nearby that we could get in time. So that was it on the trailer.
I spoke to the driver that was in the same collision, and he told me a few things that gave me some thought. But again, I am not going to CSI it in public. But Dean from Sorry for Party Racing, thanks for the post-race interview, and we'll discuss that in private. Mental, got something here.
And Scotch, by the way.
Scotch,
thanks
for the Scotch.
And we're going to talk about that when we preview next week's show. So right about now, listener, you are probably getting to work, and we're just going to warn you, we've got about another 20 minutes or so. So please keep listening because it's a brilliant show. It is. It's one of our best.
Well, should I do the Ombre updates?
Yeah,
Jeff, you absolutely should do the Ombre updates. But before you do, and I know I talk too much, but fuck it, y'all agreed to do a podcast with me, so deal with it. My dad's not listening anymore anyway. So folks, here's the deal. I got into the Ombre, and I was a bit of I don't want to say whiny little bitch, but I was a bit of a whiny little bitch about the Ombre, so I need to apologize publicly to Chris, Chrissy, Jeff, Jim, also Steve, and the Dishwashing Fairy, and
Eric. Don't forget Eric.
And Eric, who, by the way,
Eric worked his balls off on
seriously,
this one.
and he drove the wheels off the car.
Exactly, mad ass wheeled that Ombre around there. That Ombre is faster than it has a right to be, even after everything that went. I don't want to say went wrong with the Ombre, went wrong with everyone around the Ombre because they don't respect the Ombre. So it is a fantastic truck, and I am lucky that I had a chance to drive it, even though I was a full second faster than Jeff.
We're going to get there. So here's the deal with the Ombre. The Ombre has run like crap in the last couple races. And we have thrown so many freaking parts at it. Every single sensor you could possibly imagine. Chris, do you want to really quick run down the ones you remember?
Yeah. We've done the mass airflow, the manifold absolute pressure, the throttle position sensor, the crank angle sensor, both upstream oxygen sensors, the air
Multiple
intake
times.
temperature sensor.
Once.
And then we also now
Air
did
intake sensor that
Yeah.
GM says doesn't exist.
Yeah, we did the fuel pressure regulator this time. Thank you, Eric and Jim, for doing that.
2 different fuel filters, 1 fuel pump,
Yeah,
and it still didn't run right. So
it was better, like Citroen.
it always got better.
Citroen
But I have to thank the 2 people who on Friday night came over and helped us out, Yuri and Manny, for their expertise. One of them is Fonzie Savant. He just kind of like walks over and knocks on it and it starts running well. And the other one is a trained expert. And we were watching the scans. We were plugged in through the Snap-on full screen ODB2 reader, and we're just not getting any change in air fuel ratio. So Savant Fonzie Yuri comes over and unplugs the MAF, and all of a sudden she starts running great. So we tried a few things, including the O2 sensors, and just ran without the MAF, and it did great. It put down a 155, right?
155.1.
155.1 with someone with good hair behind the wheel.
Follow that up with somebody that just used fourth gear.
We're getting there.
All right. I'm trying to
Did you
praise
read the notes?
I'm trying to praise you.
So on Saturday, the trans got a little weird, and Chris mentioned that, we really haven't ever changed the transmission fluid. So we changed the transmission fluid, and we bled the clutch, and we just flew a little too close to the sun. And Chris...
What was the part? What was the little
that's
part?
what I was going to say. There's a little part that nobody knew what it was. Like a little tiny part.
Something on the drain plug that was metallic that doesn't belong in a
smaller than a thumbtack.
Yeah,
it's tiny.
I think
it's intact. It wasn't broken. It was just a piece.
No. People think that it is the 3-4 shift detent pin. But it still says in 3rd and 4th, so who knows? But either way,
there was no clear detent. When I was driving it, what I would have to do is just kind of put the weight of my hand on it, push in the clutch.
Could be.
And then it would decide when it wanted to go. Because Chris gave me a briefing before I got in the car. He said, "Look, just between 3rd and 4th, don't fight it. Just let it."
Well, it's always been that way because it's a truck.
Kind of a truck transmission.
And it has a 40-pound flywheel. So it doesn't do anything quickly in the shifter.
But I was Caribbean bus driver, 2-fingering that shifter between 3rd and 4th. You got that joke. I love that.
Right. That's exactly the way you have to do it.
Yes. So, but none of that mattered because we misbled the clutch. And we get up in the morning because we did test it.
Yeah.
We did test it just like we did 100 years ago in the boat, and you couldn't shift. So the Sunday rule was 4th gear all the way around. Again, Giant Dave piloted it great. Jim did a good job until he crashed. I will mention that we did have another crash. That is the 2nd contact for Jim. But both Jim and the other driver reported that basically they went into a turn. It was raining. A group started sliding. No one's really sure who slided first, and got collected on the passenger door. Jim and the other driver both reported that they were to blame. Jim is pretty sure he was to blame. Dented the passenger door, but really it doesn't look that bad. It didn't break the window that was just rolled down in the door. Probably, yeah.
So we're going to need a new door and a new rocker panel. But hey, one of the best parts about running an S10,
it's got character now. It's got character.
No, one of the best parts of running an S10, that rocker panel is $17 on Rock Auto.
Well, that in.
Exactly. For $17, let's get a rocker panel.
So Mental in his great hair ran a 155 using all 5 gears, even though he was told not to put it into 5th.
No, I found out not to put it in 5th Saturday night, like at 9 o'clock.
Whatever.
Whatever.
So he
I forgot
He
the
was-
lap times on the Honda. We got that down to a 144 in testing,
Yes.
which
Which was-
faster than every single car in the field except the leader.
Yes,
And
that's faster than Betty, and Betty's wicked fast.
Yeah. So with one gear on Sunday, I ran a 156. So
And the reality
even
of
though
this,
my
if you
hair
had-
sucks,
you'd
I still think
been
I'm the
faster.
better.
If you'd have had the other 2 gears, you'd have whooped my bitch ass.
Yes. That the Ombre is my friend. So there it is. By the way, it is totally for sale. We are not backing down from this. We have a tentative deal with our friend from Glue Sticks. I will be contacting them this week if I can figure out how to. I didn't actually get their phone number. We were all a little liquored up. Yeah, but there it is. We all had a good time. Giant personality. Dave Mills said it was great. Eric Kritzler, right? I said pronounce that right?
Yep.
Eric did an amazing job in the middle of throwing parts of it. Someone who will be known as Manny suggested that we change the fuel pressure regulator, which is under the intake manifold. And it was absolutely a terrible job to do. And Eric kind of took control and bam, did it.
Yeah, and Eric wheeled the hell out of it too. He started Saturday.
Yeah.
And Christy and I were up on the tower, and we've watched him dive 3 wide on the inside past the Opel and someone else into turn 1. He outbraked them. He had a clean pass, and he kept going. And Eric wheeled that truck this weekend.
And did he do an awesome job in the rain on Sunday too, with a locker rear end?
I don't think
He
he
did
drove.
okay. Yeah, he did.
Oh,
on
he was
Sunday.
slower on Sunday.
He was slower on
slower
Sunday.
because it was pouring down.
It was
rain.
raining.
He was mad ass in that thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's good in the rain. It's a good car in the rain. I don't think you people who've never driven locked rears know, but it's not really as bad as people think.
So we have
Just
to
slide.
shout out, because they listen to the show. We have to shout out to our RX-8 guys.
Absolutely,
Oh,
we're getting there. Go for
Oh, yeah,
it.
that's on
yeah.
Jeff's next thing.
I just want to make sure he gets there because we are
Yeah.
very over.
We're so.
Yeah, I know,
so-
I know.
This is a 2
So-
commute episode, people.
Yes,
Thank you
so
for sticking with us.
People have yelled at us for covering Black Betty so much, but it's so amazing because those doofuses can't keep. Oh, I'm sorry. Those guys, trying not to insult our 5 listeners. So those idiots could ruin a free lunch. I mean, these guys could break a bowling ball, all right? There is no car that they have ever brought to a race that actually stayed together, and this week it stayed together. That RX 3.8.
By all means, you should still come to Road Atlanta and still cook a pig. I'm just
Absolutely.
saying,
Yes.
absolutely.
Just don't go
These
cook a
guys
pork loin at 2
did a
a.m. when
great
you're
job.
liquored up.
I am going to call out 3/4 of the team or 2/3 of the team, I guess. So they all did a great job. The car ran great. They had a couple little mechanical things. They managed them. They kept the car on the track. No issues all weekend long.
Minor physiological incidents in the car as well.
Yes, one. I am going to blame the taller 2/3 of that team for leaving the shorter 1/3 of that team hanging to dry, calling in on the radio going, is my shift over? I don't feel good. No, 2 more laps. Two more laps. We're not ready yet. Okay, 2 more laps later.
Nope.
Can I come in now? No, we're not on the wall yet. Stay out for 2 more.
Nope.
2 more laps later. Guys, I really want to come in. No, stay out there. We're eating ice cream.
Eating chips.
We're eating chips. And, yeah. So, but F them. They had to sit in a car with puke for the rest of the weekend. That's their fault.
You didn't really say what happened, though.
I just did. He puked.
Yes.
And just go back to Eric. I walked in on Eric in the floor of the RV,
Yeah.
just
With the spins.
recovering after mad-assing the Ombre around the second time. And, yeah, he just, whatever was trying to come up, he just swallowed. Yeah, drive truck.
Ginger
fast.
pills next time, everybody. Ginger pills.
for
And
everybody.
I talked to him about that. I think he actually brought his phone out because I was like, well, I'll give you one of these now, but it's kind of too late. But no, he and not to mock the Black Betty team, just to show what an Iron Man Eric is. In the truck, yeah. Oh, I'm nauseous. I'm going to still keep turning stupid fast laps.
He did come in about 10 minutes early for his shift.
Oh, I thought it was more than 10. Mm.
Well,
it was 20.
When you trim that much time off of your lap times, you get 10 minutes.
Okay.
So there it is. We had one quoozy and one pukey, and I totally blame the Black Betty guys for leaving old Bruce out to dry there, man. Let the man in.
And they already knew that he was going to get sick.
He wasn't out to dry by the end of it. He was a little more wet.
He was more wet. Oh.
Now, Chrissy, I see your input on the show notes, but we've already warned them that we're going late. This is actually valuable input.
Okay, fine. Okay, so are you done, Jeff?
Yes.
I was going to go talk a little bit about the track location and features because we briefed over NJMP, the good and the bad in our good and bad shows, but I decided I was going to put some more information in here. So track is in a good location, and there's like a lot that's close to it, which is awesome.
AR needs to know this because we're racing there next weekend.
Most of them I think have already been there, and some of them live down the street, but that's fine. So there's Flaps, local auto part, and Walmarts. They're around, and so unfortunately, and actually there's a lot of teams that are around there that seem to have good resources, which was nice because it's kind of close to everything. We thought we needed an RX windshield, and they found one, which was awesome. So a lot of people around that are close. That's good. It has 2 tracks plus a motocross across the street. And they have a bar and a restaurant, and Lightnings, which is terrible. That made our worst track list. Made it to the worst track list, but that's not where we're racing this weekend, and AER is not racing that.
Yeah, we were non-dong.
We were right. We were at the better track of the 2, so that was great. So we were in the event garages, which we really like. They're in the center of the paddock, and kind of center of attention, and all of the things that are going on. And we're right down. We were a couple garages away from Lemons HQ, which means that we can see the penalty box and see what's going on over there. And then our paddock was right across the pit road from the garage, which was awesome. And our setup was the normal one. We have 2 fantastic RVs, which we are so blessed to have. And but they're not ours; they're other people's, so that's great. And our
kind of RV is
someone else's. So and our paddock space was right in between. But the problem is
that's why I'm on the team. That's the only reason I'm on the team.
Seriously. So when the rain hit, everything was covered in mud. Standing water made it so that we needed to make like little bridges with our ramps. So it was just kind of a hot mess, but always a nice time. And it's great to not have to be intense and that kind of stuff. So, then we had the hot tub, and that was awesome. Go ahead, Chris.
Yep. No, that's it. That's all.
And Chrissy, I know you just talked about a bunch of stuff, but
I have one more thing to do before we go on to that.
Okay.
So I just want to mention I had to work on Friday, and another shout out to Giant Dave. I got to drive his lovely Acura. What is that thing? A CLS, Chris?
Yeah,
CL Type S with
CL Type S.
50,000 miles.
I am pretty sure that Cookie Monster was eating trail mix in the passenger seat. That was a fantastic car, but man, I am getting him a shop vac for Christmas.
Where's he going to put it? Maybe he needs a dustbuster.
He needs a dustbuster. That'll work.
A dustbuster.
But no, he saved my life by letting me drive to work on Friday.
He
saved
and not your life, really?
Not saved my life.
Oh my God!
Help me out.
That is a little hyperbole there. Yeah,
just a little.
True.
Hyperbole and a half, if you will.
All right. Yeah. And so the rain really was pretty rough this weekend, and these AER guys that are coming up next week, they're going to have a lousy time. It is going to rain. I just looked at the forecast for Pennsylvania. It's going to rain. It's rained all week. It's going to rain from now until
like Monday,
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be.
How many welded rear ends are you think are in that series?
None, because they all have queefs.
Oh, there's no Audis there anymore.
Queefs.
They used to have
Audis.
Because that team was the exact same D-bags that they were in Lemons.
No. They used to have Rally Baby used to run a couple Audis.
Okay, no, Rally Baby Audis are completely different. I thought you were talking about those the new kids on the block Audi team.
G-Trons, yeah.
None of them.
Anyway, so it'd be great if we could learn a bit more about how to do better in the rain. Is there anyone might be able to tell us about that?
I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, what would be really good is if we had a segment that was like everybody's favorite segment except for hers, and we could come up with a name for.
No, it's totally my favorite.
Jeff, what would be a good name for everybody's favorite segment?
Let's try just the
tip.
All right, so totally that's why I picked it, because it's rained forever. It's going to keep raining. So let's talk about how to do it safely. And so there's been some actually pretty strong storms that swept the East Coast. One of them while we were at the racetrack. Fortunately, we all were off track and hanging out drinking at that time. So let's talk about how to drive safely in the rain, not just on the track. This is a lot more for your normal car too. So make sure your equipment is in order. Make sure your headlights and taillights work, because that is very helpful when you can't see. And make sure your windshield wipers work. Has anybody changed their windshield wipers lately? Oh, good. Oh, everybody raised their hand. That's fantastic.
Two of us raised our hand.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I just put new blades on the NSX.
Thank you. We're going to need them.
I'm so obnoxious about that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jeff had said before when we were talking about winter safety, he did not do that. So I was hoping that everybody did. Awesome. Okay. So how about some tire tread? So if you still have your snow tires on, then great. But you might have your summers with minimal tread. Just make sure that you know how much tread you have and when you should be slowing down. That's kind of, on your own thing. You should be able to figure out if you should be slowing down. Go ahead, Mental.
How do you know how much tread you have?
Look at it.
You look at it.
Okay, because the local tire shop here, they always have the penny, and if you can see Abe Lincoln's head, you need to replace your tires.
Thank you.
If you get that far, though, your tires are totally bald. You can also look at the treadwear indicators that are molded into every tire. At certain spots, there's a little raised portion, and if you're getting close to that raised portion, your tires are pretty well done.
Chrissy knows all of this. Let Chrissy give it to us.
Oh, that's okay. I mean,
Chrissy usually anything tire related. She says, "Chris, talk about tires."
I know it's kind of whatever.
Back to just the tip.
Right. Okay, so slow down, preferably less than the speed limit. Reaction time slower when it's raining. Watch out for dumb people, because that's a thing. Hopefully they have their hazards on, maybe not. Just watch for people that are completely scared of going very slow and going to hold you up.
If you are actually still moving on the freeway, do not turn your hazards on. Stop. Your hazards are for when you're stopped on the side of the road.
Oh,
I don't know what it is in Atlanta that people decide to turn their hazards on when they're doing 60 in the left lane. Stop it. If you're in the left lane, turn your hazards off. Okay. Get out of my way.
Sorry.
Yeah, what is that about?
Well,
it's an Atlanta thing. I don't know, only in Atlanta, and I love my city, but
hold on a second. Everyone from Atlanta, listen up. Cut it out.
Okay.
Chrissy and I love when people do
just
that.
The tip.
Because anybody that turns their hazards on while still driving just because it's raining, it's great, because that means I just know, you are very clearly the idiot, and I will stay a long way away from you.
I will make sure I get around you safely because I'm scared of you. Right? They're just kind of like a big red flag. Okay, so Rain-X is your friend. Apply Rain-X before it rains, because it is. It's the best thing. And next time you wash your car. So now in the rainstorms, you can't do it now, but you should do it again. The rain was going to beat up, so you don't have to use your windshield wipers. And I know it has saved us in storms when your wipers can't go that fast. Thinking of Babe Rally, big storms on the way home. If we didn't have Rain-X, we would not. We should have just parked and not moved. So definitely
we had to slow down and turn our hazards on.
Maybe that too. But if you don't use Rain-X anyway, now start, because it's wonderful. Use the directions on the back of the bottle. Turn your lights on. And keep a good distance between you and other cars, and watch for standing water. So if you make sure you don't hi,
whose phone's ringing?
Jeff, take your singular.
That would actually be Miss Mental.
Okay. So hydroplaning. If it happens, calmly take your foot off the accelerator and steer in the direction that needs to go. Don't slam on the brakes. And I could go on. There's plenty more things. Just be careful. Don't be stupid.
Excellent. Thank you for a wonderful Just a Tip. I want to mention that we may be altering some of the format of the show in the future. We already mentioned that there's a new section called Joys and Concerns for all of our post-race shows. And we may be doing in the future either Hella Sweet or But Terrible on a 2-week rotation, basically one then the other, one then the other, one then the other, because, well, we like talking about so much other stuff that we don't have time for both. And they're both cool. So, yes, we will get Just the Tip, but it might be 2 weeks from now. Chrissy, tell us what is happening next week.
So next week, we're going to be talking about how to avoid being a D-bag. Oh, I guess we already lost our thing, douchebag, at a race. So how do you be a butt at a race? We want to hear your suggestions on the Facebook page or over email. And we're also going to preview Champ Car at the Glen and recap a little bit of the action of AER at NJMP this weekend, Lemons at Thunder Hill, and GRM Ultimate Track Car. Mental is going to talk about instructing at NOLA with NASA, which would be fun. And sending us your racing with siblings stories, ideas, tips. And tell us how your race weekend went. And if you have a hella sweet or but terrible idea, we would love to hear from it as well.
Wow.
Because we have a panel of experts in bad decisions.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No. Don't apologize. That was a beautiful segue.
It was a great read. It was a great read, everyone. How much time have we gone so far?
Like a long,
Chrissy, hold on.
way too much.
freaking
1
time.
hour and 23 minutes.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
downloading
you all.
us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. We've gone so long, I'm just going to skip right to the end and say, check us out. Subscribe, Everyone Racers on all of your social media.
Thanks.
Just check it out. Instagram, thanks again. And keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.
Bye.